Dear Diary. My hands are shaking as I write this. I'm 67 years old, and I never thought my own son would look me in the eye and say those words. Mom, we're selling your house to pay off our mortgage. You can live at the old family cabin in the mountains. Just like that. Like I'm some old piece of furniture they need to store away. I sat there in my kitchen, the kitchen where I raised him, where I made thousands of meals, where I cried alone after his father died. The same kitchen where I celebrated his graduation, his wedding, his children's birthdays. But Theodore, I whispered, this is my home. He didn't even look up from his phone. Mom, be reasonable. We're drowning in debt. Your house is worth 3 times what we owe. It's the logical solution. Logical. That's what my life has become to him. A math problem to be solved. His wife Sarah nodded from the corner. The cabin has everything you need, Margaret. It's quiet. Peaceful. Perfect for someone your age. Someone my age. Like I'm already dead. 3 days later. They brought boxes today. Big, empty boxes with that cold cardboard smell. 43 years of memories, and they expect me to fit it all into boxes. I found my wedding dress in the attic. Still in its protective bag. Still beautiful. I held it against my chest and remembered dancing with Robert at our reception. We were so young, so full of dreams. Mom, you don't need to keep everything, Theodore said, grabbing the dress from my hands. When will you ever wear this again? Never. But that's not the point, is it? I also found Robert's toolbox. Every tool perfectly organized, just like he left them. Theodore's eyes lit up when he saw it. Oh, I can use these in my workshop. My workshop. Robert's workshop. Now Theodore's workshop. I said nothing. What was the point? The cabin, week 1. I'm writing by candlelight tonight. The electricity is spotty up here. The cabin is smaller than my bedroom back home. The roof leaks when it rains. The nearest neighbor is 3 miles away. Theodore and Sarah came by yesterday with the grandchildren. They stayed for 20 minutes. See, Mom. Isn't this nice? So peaceful. Peaceful. That's what they call abandonment now. Little Emma, my granddaughter, whispered to me before they left, Grandma, why don't you live with us anymore? I couldn't answer. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that sometimes families throw away the people who built them? Week 2. The loneliness is crushing. I talk to myself just to hear a human voice. Yesterday I had a full conversation with Robert's photograph. What would you do? I asked him. How do I survive this? The silence was deafening. I tried calling my sister Helen in California. She listened for 5 minutes before saying, Margaret, maybe Theodore is right. Maybe it's time to simplify your life. Simplify. Another word for disappear. I hung up and cried until my eyes burned. Week 3. Something strange happened today. A woman knocked on my door. Elderly, maybe 75, with wild gray hair and sharp blue eyes. You're Robert Thompson's widow, she said. Not a question. Her name is Dorothy Chin. She lives in the valley. She knew Robert's mother, Eleanor. Eleanor used to talk about you, Dorothy said over tea. Said Robert married a fighter. Said you reminded her of herself. I almost laughed. Me? A fighter? I've been pushed around by everyone. But Dorothy kept talking. Eleanor left something for you. Something she made me promise to give you if you ever came here alone. She handed me an old wooden box. Inside, wrapped in tissue paper, was a key and a letter in Eleanor's handwriting. Dear Margaret, if you're reading this, it means the men in this family have failed you. They always do, eventually. This key opens the desk in the cabin's back room. What you find there will change everything. Use it wisely. Use it strongly. Make them remember that Thompson women don't break. Eleanor. Week 3, later that day. My hands shook as I opened the desk drawer. Hidden underneath false boards, I found a stack of letters tied with a blue ribbon. They're from Eleanor to her husband during World War II. Letters full of love, fear, hope, and heartbreak. But there's more. There are photographs. Eleanor as a young woman, standing beside oil derricks. Eleanor in a business suit, shaking hands with men in expensive clothes. Eleanor signing papers at a bank. And at the bottom, a deed. A deed to this cabin and the land around it. 150 acres of pristine mountain land. Land that Eleanor bought with her own money in 1952. Land she earned from oil investments she made while her husband was at war. But there's something else. Something that makes my heart race. Recent survey reports. Development proposals. Letters from companies begging to buy this land. This land worth over $2 million. Week 4. I couldn't sleep, so I spent the night reading Eleanor's diary. She wrote about being dismissed by her own family. About her husband taking credit for her business success. About her son Robert never really understanding where their money came from. The men take credit, she wrote, but the women do the work. They think we're just pretty decorations, but we're the ones who build the foundations. One entry made me cry. Today Robert told his friends that his father is the businessman in the family. He has no idea that every dollar in our account came from my oil investments. I let them believe what they want to believe. But someday, a Thompson woman will need this truth. And she'll be ready for it. That Thompson woman is me. I called a lawyer this morning. Not just any lawyer. The best one in the county. Jessica Martinez. She drove up here in a Mercedes and wore shoes that cost more than my monthly grocery budget. Mrs. Thompson, she said, examining the deed with a magnifying glass, this is ironclad. This land is yours, free and clear. And you're sitting on a gold mine. She spread out maps on my tiny kitchen table. See this red line? That's the boundary of the new Alpine Vista Resort. They've been buying up land for 3 years. Your property. It's the missing piece they need for their main lodge and golf course. $2.8 million. That's their opening offer. But Jessica smiled like a shark. I think we can do better than that. Week 4. I made some phone calls today. Did some research at the tiny library in town. My heart is racing as I write this. The cabin isn't just worth money. It's worth a fortune. And according to the original deed, it belongs to me. Robert inherited it from his mother, and when he died, it passed to me. Theodore never knew. We never came here much, Robert wasn't fond of his mother. But she left specific instructions that this land should never be sold unless the family was in desperate need. Well, I'm in desperate need now. Desperate need of respect. Desperate need of dignity. Desperate need of justice. I called a lawyer today. A sharp young woman named Jessica who drove all the way up here to meet me. Mrs. Thompson, she said, looking at the deed, you're sitting on a gold mine. This land borders the new ski resort development. They've been trying to buy parcels like this for years. $2.8 million. That's what the development company offered. But I have a better idea. Week 5. Jessica called this morning. The resort developers are desperate. They've offered $4.2 million. Cash. Closing in 2 weeks. I said yes. But first, I had a different call to make. Theodore. It's your mother. Mom. Thank God. Sarah and I have been talking, and we think maybe we made a mistake. Maybe you could move back home, and we could work something else out. I let him finish. Let him squirm. That's interesting, Theodore. Because I got a call today from a lawyer. Apparently, someone has been asking questions about the cabin property. Silence. What kind of questions? Questions about ownership. About mineral rights. About development potential. I could hear Sarah whispering frantically in the background. Mom, what's going on? I'm selling the cabin, Theodore. Long silence. Selling it? But where will you live? That place is worthless. It's falling apart. Worthless. I laughed. Actually laughed. Son, this worthless cabin sits on 150 acres of prime development land. Land your grandmother bought with oil money in 1952. Land she left specifically for Thompson women who needed to defend themselves. That's impossible. Dad never said anything about. Your father didn't know. Eleanor made sure of that. She knew the men in this family would squander it or use it to control the women. So she kept it secret. Until now. Mom, you're not making sense. How much could that old place possibly? $4.2 million, Theodore. That's what Alpine Vista Resort is paying me. Cash. Closing next week. The phone clattered. I heard Sarah scream in the background. I heard Theodore hyperventilating. $4 million. Plus, I'm keeping the mineral rights. Jessica thinks there might be natural gas deposits. Could be another $1 million or $2 million down the road. Mom, please. We didn't know. If we had known. If you had known, would you have treated me like a human being instead of garbage? We never treated you like garbage. No. Then why am I sitting in a cabin with no heat while you're living in my house? Why did your wife call me a burden? Why did you pack my life into boxes like I was already dead? Silence. Finally, a broken whisper. What can we do to fix this? 2 days before closing. Theodore and Sarah showed up unannounced. They looked desperate. Hollow-eyed. Sarah had been crying. Mom, we need to talk. I let them in. Made tea. Watched them fidget like children called to the principal's office. We've been thinking, Sarah began, about what you said. About how we treated you. And? Theodore cleared his throat. We were wrong. We see that now. We were desperate about the mortgage, and we thought. You thought I was disposable. No. We thought you'd be happier somewhere quiet. Away from the stress of maintaining a big house. I sipped my tea. Whose idea was it to sell my house specifically? They looked at each other. Sarah's face crumbled. It was mine, she whispered. I calculated the numbers. Your house was worth the most. I thought it made financial sense. Financial sense. Not human sense. Margaret, please, Sarah begged. We'll do anything. We'll move out. We'll find somewhere else to live. Just, please don't abandon us. The irony was delicious. Abandon you. Like you abandoned me. Theodore leaned forward. Mom, we're family. Family forgives each other. We made a mistake, but we can fix this. I set down my teacup. You're right, Theodore. Family does forgive each other. But family also remembers. And family learns. I walked to my purse and pulled out a folder. This is a copy of the sales contract. $4.2 million. Plus, I'm keeping a 10% stake in the resort development. Jessica estimates that will be worth another $2 million within 5 years. Sarah gasped. $6 million. Minimum. Theodore's hands were shaking. Mom, please. We're losing the house next month. The bank is foreclosing. We have nowhere to go. That's terrible, I said, meaning it. Where will Emma and little Robert sleep? We don't know, Sarah sobbed. We thought we had more time. We thought your house sale would save us. I studied their faces. Saw the fear. The desperation. The same fear I felt when they threw me away. Here's what's going to happen, I said slowly. I close on the land sale tomorrow. I also close on my new house tomorrow. It's beautiful. 6 bedrooms, 4 baths, mountain views. They stared at me. The house has a guest wing. Separate entrance, full kitchen, 2 bedrooms. You can live there. Rent-free. Hope flickered in Theodore's eyes. But, I continued, there are conditions. The hope dimmed. First, you will never, ever make another major decision about my life without consulting me first. I am not your burden to manage. I am your mother, and I deserve respect. Theodore nodded quickly. Second, Sarah, you will apologize to me in front of the children. You will explain that calling someone a burden is cruel and wrong. They need to know that's not how families treat each other. Sarah's face flushed, but she nodded. Third, every month, you will volunteer with me at the women's shelter. You'll help other families who are struggling. You'll learn what real hardship looks like. Yes, Theodore said. Yes, anything. And finally, half of my estate goes to Emma and Robert's education. The other half goes to the Margaret Thompson Foundation for Displaced Elderly Women. I leaned back in my chair. Take it or leave it. They took it. Closing day. I'm writing this from my new home. It's beautiful. Modern kitchen, walk-in closets, a reading nook with mountain views. Theodore and Sarah came by yesterday. They looked smaller somehow. Diminished. Mom, we had no idea about the land value. If we had known. If you had known, would you have treated me differently? Would you have kept me around for my money instead of throwing me away for yours? Sarah started crying. Margaret, we're sorry. We made a mistake. Yes, you did. Theodore looked around my new living room, bigger than their entire first floor. Maybe we could talk about the house situation. Maybe you could move back, and we could find another solution. I smiled. The same smile I used to give him when he asked for cookies before dinner. Oh, Theodore. That house was sold last week. Didn't I mention? The new owners are a lovely young family with 3 children. They're so grateful to have a real home. His face went white. Sold. But where will we live? I picked up my cup of tea. Bone china. New set. Beautiful. Well, there's a nice apartment complex on the other side of town. 2 bedrooms. Perfect for a family your size. I'm sure you'll manage. After all, you're so logical. I paused, watching them both squirm. Oh, and Theodore. I've set up college funds for Emma and little Robert. Full scholarships, guaranteed. Because unlike some people, I believe in taking care of family. They left without saying goodbye. Tonight. I'm sitting in my reading nook, watching the sunset paint the mountains gold. For the first time in months, I feel like myself again. I'm not bitter. I'm not cruel. But I am done being invisible. Tomorrow, I'm starting volunteer work at the women's shelter. I want to help other women who've been thrown away, forgotten, or underestimated. Because here's what I've learned: they can take your house, your belongings, even your dignity. But they can't take your worth. And sometimes, the universe has a funny way of reminding everyone what you're really made of. The phone is ringing. Theodore's name on the caller ID. I think I'll let it ring. I have better things to do. Signed. Margaret Thompson. Homeowner. Millionaire. And nobody's burden.